Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, channel boys, ladies, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we are jumping into the Plunder Trios record from Urzikstan as of last year. I do say as of last year for a very specific reason, but we will get into that in a couple of weeks' time. What we are looking at today, we are looking at a 9.1 million, making pretty much 3 million across the board. And considering how you have to do this, hitting 3 million is quite impressive for everybody on the team, and it also falls nicely in line with the quads record coming in at 12 million, the duos record at 6 million, and the solo record at 4.7. So everything flowed in a nice unison this year with all the scores, and I was very happy with that because we pushed for a very long time through a lot of errors to try and make it that way. Unfortunately, this is a contractor game once again, which means you are stuck here for a very prolonged period watching in total boredom as we pretty much wait for a RNG event to activate. And if you think it is boring to wait and watch that, you should try playing hundreds and hundreds of games of it. It is not fun, it is not enjoyable in the bloody slightest. Anyway, with all of that said and done, here we are, 196 pings, South Africa. I've been accused of trying to hide that. I really don't think I am. We play in South Africa. And this started back in Caldera when the loot goblins wanted to end Golden Plunder within 2 to 3 minutes every single game. And I was grinding a kills leaderboard, and off to South Africa I took myself to compete against, at the time, 5 of the top killers in the world. It was no coincidence at that stage that top 5 killers in Plunder were all South African, because their lobbies never ended. They were 30-minute lobbies. For anybody that may be interested in listening to the ramblings of a madman throughout the adventures of trios in Urzikstan, I do find it critical to mention that because of VPNing, because of going to South Africa, the causal effect on our leaderboard stats, while granted it helped get the kills up, and that's exactly what you needed, 30-minute lobbies to get kills, not 5-minute lobbies. A problem did arise, and you can ask Mandy, you could ask Stim, you could pretty much ask anybody that rambled us back then. The amount of money we spent per game to ensure we didn't bank through force of habit or just running over money knocked a couple of billion off of our OG leaderboard stats, so that's a fact that never really gets put to light. But as you can see, it's just basic Urzikstan, waiting for a contractor, getting set up into overtime, getting bunkers and routes done. This was worked on for about 6 to 7 months, on and off. When this map launched, if you Google Urzikstan Plunder World Record, you will find a Reddit post by me right around the game's launch, where I say that the record was around 9 million. It would go to 10, which it did, and then inevitably it would go to 11 and 12, which it did. And there was room for 13, and depending on how you look at it, 13 was hit. Not officially, but technically hit, be a contractor. And we'll get to that eventually when that video is coming out. But yes, so South Africa, high ping, 200 ping. That is a nightmare to play on. Anyone that is listening that knows what ping is, knows 200 is a nightmare. And knows that any decent player will moan and give out over 40 ping. So you can quite picture 200, and poor Mr. Isher is indeed running on 330 ping. This is a full lobby as well, which makes a rare bloody change to what people believe I post, apparently. It is quite bizarre how many records people think have been set in low lobbies. Indeed, if you were to go right back to Verdansk Catalyst UK, ladies and gentlemen, and you can find his YouTube channel with a bit of searching, he set a crossplay off solo record of 2.4 in a 50-player lobby. Benny Blue Balls, Skate Out, Catalyst again, and one other set of 5.1 in a 40-player crossplay off lobby, and that was all the way back in OG Verdansk. It is kind of funny how the community seems to forget these things. Now, another point that would probably be useful to bring up is it's very interesting how the what would you call it? The opinions of certain people within the Plunder community have developed in the last 5 years. When we initially started with Verdansk and rolled into Verdansk 84, the reason we got records was put to us that because we play 400 to 500 games a week, of course we get the records, it's inevitable, and it was bullshit. It is rather interesting now we're accused of only playing 20 to 30 games, for what it's worth. That I wish was true. 20 to 30 games to try and get a high score. But indeed, as you see me pulling the map there and you see them all separated, this is kind of telling of what Plunder has become. I find it amazing that people act surprised that these lobbies exist, considering there were AFK bot lobbies that a number of Plunder people participated in Australia, in Tokyo, in Crossplay Off, in America, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. You rub a band your controller and you go AFK in Plunder to get Battle Pass XP, because Battle Pass XP is dictated by how long you play for, not by what you actually achieve within a game. And if you go in with teammates and you are rubber banding your controller, indeed while they are doing contracts, you will level up your guns. This is a proven method that became popular during Al-Mazrah as it spread to Europe and America, and we've seen at some stages 60 to 70 AFKs in America, which was absolute insanity. Let's see, another talking point that we can move ourselves onto. As you can see on the screen at the moment, 84 in the lobby. People have left, it is what it is. The new Plunder is far, far worse than the last Plunder for people leaving the lobby. Definitely that's down to guns and fucking camos, and I'd say in general just being worn out playing the game. It is the same map again, skimmed back to basics. But moving back to the player count size and when I pulled the advanced UAV, the reason I mention it is if you go back as far as December of the original Verdansk, which, bear in mind, was only about 9 months into its inception at that point. And I've done videos on Plunder history in the past on the channel. They are available. But one of the very interesting things was how the lobbies began to just congregate in Storage Town and turn it into Team Deathmatch. And that was kind of the first indication that the Plunder player base, the player base that play Plunder, I will correct myself, were growing weary of picking up money and just opening boxes over and over again. And indeed, we've seen that across every map that has come in since then, be it Verdansk 84, be it Al-Mazrah, be it Urzikstan with Old Town, or indeed Al-Mazrah with Capital or Sayad Bay, or indeed Caldera with Peak and Airfield. Time and time again, we see a hot drop, and that becomes the focus point for the map. Now, if you were to compare a lot of evidence that we've gathered over the past couple of years, and you look at how popular Plunder was when it came out, streamers starting to diss it, articles coming out about it online, putting it down, it got a rough time. And then, obviously, as you've seen, the player base began to not want to play the objective, and the developers themselves at the time admitted that they only expected 10%, if that, to actually play the objective in any one game, and the Plunder was designed as something that other people could do if they didn't want to play the objective as well. I think IGN summed it up best as fun-loving losers. I don't agree with all of that statement, especially not if you look back at the history of the original leaderboard. There were some savages on there with 2 and 3 KDs, former players from Blackout, for Rebirth, leaderboard grinders. There was a lot, and it was a hotly contested board. I wish I could say the same for the current board, but alas, it is not the case. And this all feeds back into what I was about to get on with. And that is that ending games in 3-4 minutes, while entertaining for Usla in Verdansk, there was in effect 200 people over the course of 3 years that absolutely destroyed Plunder, myself included in that, because we ruined the game mode. And the response to that, we seen it was very strong in Caldera. They nerfed the money into the ground, and it took months for that to recover. It took months to even have motivation to want to play that game mode again. But we came back and we started off with a 3-6 quads, and we pushed that all the way up to a 6 million quads. There are only two 6 million quads to happen in Caldera under regular Plunder rule set, not Golden Plunder or Blood Money. They are both available on the channel, and they were some very, very, very memorable games. As a matter of fact, that whole series from 5 million to 6 million, because we had originally thought 6 was impossible, absolutely phenomenal. But the point is, we've seen the side effects of too much cash being collected back then. And then Urzikstan comes around, and Every Plunder player has seen this, and yet they want to choose to ignore it. Now, the game mode specifically states they wanted the last 15 to 20 minutes. It's why there's 3 events followed by a chokehold in the final 5 minutes to wrap the game up. Yet here we are, still banking in 5 minutes. And now here we are in Urzikstan 2024. Sellables are gone.
How long's the next contract again, Reza?
The money has been reduced. The money in overtime from kills is broken again. They couldn't make it any clearer that they don't want fast games. And I think the nerf in XP rates is also another bit of proof of that, because the XP rates through Verdansk, through 84, through Caldera, through Al Mazrah, even through Urzikstan last year, the XP rates were always phenomenal. Oh my god, Al Mazrah, that was... Oh, I know a few people that might have got the level... Well, the 250 levels done inside of 3 to 4 days back then. That was a joke. That was extraordinarily easy. So here we are, now, 12 minutes in, and we're beginning to just get prepared for Contractor, getting our money up a little bit, just doing the motions that we do hundreds and hundreds of times a year. I think I probably finished Urzikstan last year with about 1,400 games, and I would say 1,200 of them were in search of high scores. Halfway through the video at this point, I would like to say, if people haven't picked up on it from my previous records from social media interactions, I am an intelligent individual. It's not ego to say that. It's evident by what we have accomplished in Plunder. And I have an absolute adoration for numbers. I think numbers are very telling. I don't like statistics because I believe statistics lie based on who's portraying them. But cold, hard facts and figures in Plunder don't lie. And I have been very happy in seeing pretty much every score I predicted happening for the past 4 years has happened, and rarely has it gone over that, because there is a physical amount of money that people can't collect in Plunder. And a recent post by a less than intelligent individual over on Facebook was complaining about our current scores on the Urzikstan leaderboard and challenging us to get $2 million in his lobby. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he understands how this works. He doesn't. He doesn't. But this is how it works. For a team to get 8 million in a game, be it the current method, again, which will be spoken about in a couple of weeks' time, or be it the contractor method, certain things have to be put into place to allow for teams to get that. You can't just go loot goblins like the majority of them think you can. That is not how you do it. People need to get certain amounts of money. In this game, certain amounts of sellables. Certain contracts have to be lined up at certain positions, on certain routes, with certain accessibility points, with ascertain to where they are prior to the initiation of Contractor, meaning someone had to scope them out, meaning they're not looting, meaning it falls to other people. That again changes the score, as one person is scoping out contracts, that being Liam in this one. And I'm not actually sure what Liam finishes, but probably around the same as us. He is busy, he can't loot. We have to spend, so we don't bank at any stage, so we can continue with our keycard hunt and our contract hunt. You can't just walk in and get these scores. If they could, there would be a lot more names in contendership for records. However, that hasn't been. Now, while one team gave us a very good run for our money in Al Mazrah, they don't know the real reason they got that score in Al Mazrah. I will leave that one. There is a select group of people who know why that occurred. And there are a couple of challengers back in Verdansk. Very formidable. People I don't like, but I respect some of their scores. Almost impossible for us to beat. And only because of kills back in the day, we actually managed to do that. And that is a shout out to Mandy News on that one. There is a 4.8 million Plunder Trios game on this channel. Blood Money from back in Verdansk. It is 4.8 back in Verdansk with 3 people when the record couldn't get past 4-4. To put such a large jump of cash on that. I think people might detect a little bit of rambling in this one, but they'll also detect a little bit of passion. I love, as I said, numbers. And the idea of being able to link up with people from across the globe, from a large spectrum of age categories, for us to come together and put our heads together year in, year out, pull off the scores we do, the planning we do, the time investment we do, the sacrifice we do, year in, year out, and we put out
and then the bunker is there. Yeah.
what would be considered almost the maximum amount of cash anyone could get. And I want to point out every score, well, the solo score doesn't count, that will go up in another day, but the duos, the trios, the quads, the only way to increase those scores, and I want to make this abundantly clear, the only way to increase any of those scores was to do another contractor. Or in certain ones have a contract finished. There is the 12-7 that will go up where a contract was active at the end of the game but didn't finish. And that is a very good feeling deep down, because you know the maximum score that was going to come out of Urzikstan was around 12-7 or 13-4 with a contract. In Al Mazrah, it was between 12-5 and 12-7 or 11-4 with a contract. Back in Caldera, it was 21. There was a game where it could have been 23, but it was what it was. The 5-8-5 in Verdansk could never, ever, 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 ever be replicated. That was 4 bunkers, park bunker, the hole in the ground in airport, and that fucking Easter egg up in the military base. Up in the dam, my apologies. Up in the dam. All in one game. American server. We are finally in overtime. We are 16 minutes in. You see the struggles we go through. I mean, you've been listening to me for this long. You kind of understand it. But through all the ramblings, through everything, we've made it this far. And this is where I point out that yes, I am in every score. And yes, the names change yearly. Some faces new, some faces old. But all of these scores couldn't be done without planning by me, dedication by the others, being able to make on-the-fly calls, understanding what we're doing, understanding the map, and being willing to listen. And I love those guys for that, because we have a really, really strong group that have stuck together longer than any other group has been going in Plunder. And I think they would have a really hard time accepting that we are 5 years going strong doing this stuff. And Verdansk will be back. And we will be back for Verdansk. But I will let you enjoy the last minute or so of this game. And what I will say to you is soon quads will go up, soon solos will go up, and then in a couple of weeks' time, in unedited form, something historic will be uploaded that was once thought absolutely impossible. So I'm going to leave you with that one. I'm going to sign off. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on behalf of the ladies' man himself, Mr. RGX Liam, and Mr. Isher, that I ever so fondly call on to help with my accountancy and track of Plunder record scores, money, and obtainable items. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Plunder Trios record. This was at the start a full player lobby. And to those that don't like me who are watching this, because I think these will probably skip to the end, overtime, I'll throw the message in before it finishes. You'll never be as good as me. Ever. Every server in this world I have played on, and we've done something good on all of them. Okay, Mr. Razor out, ladies and gentlemen. $9.1 million.
Oh, there you go. Planning makes perfect.
What did we get?
9-1.
Oh wow.
100 player lobby.
Oh, that's good. Uh-huh. What's the trio's record?
9.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, we just broke it?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Oh, I can. GG
Breathe.
guys, GG's.
GG's.
I need the clipper. Can you do a clip on that for me, Liam? If you can store the 30?
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
know if I can. I'm gonna have to delete headshots one. Fuck.
Do you know what I did?
Yeah, if you hit the options button on the left side of your controller.